And welcome back. This is your man Warrior, and I am excited. Tonight we are going to be doing FULCRUM AHSOKA. That's right. I know Dave Filoni in the last EA event down in Orlando kind of teased at AHSOKA not being dead after the exchange with Darth Vader with a question mark. AHSOKA lives. And then he came out later with AHSOKA lives. Now, I'm really excited. I get to bring to you exclusive content from EA that showcases this brand new character that's coming out in a marquee event. It's going to be very awesome. I haven't been this excited about a character in a long time. I think R2-D2 is awesome. I have him maxed out, but I am ridiculously excited about AHSOKA, FULCRUM AHSOKA. So her official in-game name is going to be AHSOKA Tano FULCRUM. She's going to be immune to damage over time effects, dots from Darth Vader, and she's going to be able to dispel all other negative debuffs off of her naturally. She's just going to naturally cleanse herself. It comes at an expense. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but she is amazing. They call her an enduring rebel attacker who shrugs off debuffs and will consume those buffs for extra damage. We're going to go in to check out how she does this. Now, before we get into it, the first thing I like to do is just a quick analogy. A lot of people want to kind of know down and dirty, is she going to be good? Is she going to be, where's she going to fit? She's going to fit, in my opinion, in a team that does a lot of buffing, right? Teams like the Rogue One Rebels, this is phenomenal. Or teams such as the Jedis, who are going to spread their love with all their buffs. She's going to benefit greatly from those buffs. It's going to mitigate how much damage loss she takes when she cleanses, and it's going to increase the amount of damage that she's capable of doing each and every time she hits somebody. Essentially, she is the Darth Vader equivalent in the game for Rebels. She's going to have 3 abilities like Darth Vader, a basic attack, which Darth Vader's ability blocks. Hers is going to give protection up to 40% protection up for her and a random ally. And he has his ability Force Crush, which is going to put a bunch of debuffs up. She has Meditate, which has the ability to collect all of the buffs, all of the unique buffs from the team. And then just like he can throw a Culling Blade, she has what's called Whirlwind, which actually will do additional damage attacks, additional attacks for each and every buff that she has over her head that's unique. So basically, she is the equivalent of a Darth Vader character. In my Galaxy Star ratings that I've come up with, where 5's kind of a must-have character, I place her definitely in a tentative reserved 5 spot as someone that, if you're running Rebels, Jedi, light side characters, this is definitely a character for you. It's not to say she doesn't fit in a team with dark side, but she's definitely going to have the most synergy with these light side characters for sure. Now let's take a look at her kit. Now, her first ability is called Balanced Strike, and she's going to do damage to the opponent, a good decent amount of damage, not too bad at all, pretty strong basic attack. And when she does that, after she hits, she's going to put protection up onto a random ally and herself, so they're both going to get protection up. Pretty awesome. She then has a unique that I actually want to go into next, because the unique is actually going to explain a little bit about the basic and why she puts that protection back up. So she has a unique called Perseverance, and when Perseverance is maxed out, she's going to be immune to damage over time effects. Now, when the end of her turn comes, she's going to get rid of all negative status effects. Every negative status effect, when this is maxed out, will do 10% damage to her health or protection, okay? It says to her health, but it does it to her protection. I've seen her protection go down at the end of her turn. So 10%, that's a decent amount loss, right? But she cleanses herself. She keeps herself completely clean. And for every buff that she has over her positive, she's going to gain 5% health back. This is a mitigation. So if she has 5 buffs and 2 debuffs, she's going to gain 25 health back and only lose 20. She'll actually gain 5 health. So you want her to have more buffs than debuffs the entire time, which is why you want to put her in a very important team for that. But the protection up is kind of her way of regenerating protection, because she's going to hurt herself a little bit, cleansing all of the debuffs other than the damage over times, because she's immune to those. But all the other speed down, daze, any of those, she's going to consume those and take the damage in health, but then she's going to, with buffs, gain that health back. And her basic, which is super important, is going to regenerate her protection. So this is really key. Now let's go into her 2 special abilities. So her 2 special abilities is Meditate and Whirlwind. Meditate essentially pulls all the positive status effects off of her team, all unique positive status effects off of her team, and gives it to herself. And it gives her Foresight and Retribution when maxed out. Retribution and Foresight are 2 unique buffs, plus all the others she collects from the team. That's huge, because she also gets 15% turn meter for every single buff she acquires. Now, think about it. She pulls 5 buffs, unique buffs from the other players, and she has 2 new unique buffs now over her. That's now potentially 7 buffs, or essentially a free turn because of the additional turn meter gain. And she's got all of those buffs. This is a really crazy ability. Essentially what it does is it takes all of the buffs, and she's guaranteed pretty much 2, and then whatever she collects. So she's going to collect another 3 to 5 more buffs. She's going to have anywhere from 5 to 7, 5 to 8 of these buffs, and it's going to speed her up significantly so she can take basically a second turn in a row. It's kind of like when Darth Vader does a Culling Blade and kills somebody and gets 100% turn meter and gets to take an immediate second turn. She's going to be similar. She's going to collect a ton of buffs, take an immediate second turn, and that immediate second turn she's going to dispense those buffs and do damage, do hits for every one of those buffs dispelled. And that if she had 6 on her, she's going to do 6 hits for damage. These are crazy amounts of damage. So I don't know what to say, man. All I know is she's coming in a marquee event. We're all getting her, and you all are going to want to gear her up. I haven't thought about that for a particular character in a long time. I'm definitely saying this is one of those characters you do want to invest in. Now that we kind of know how her Meditate works, let's go into Whirlwind. So like I just explained, Whirlwind essentially takes and she consumes all of those buffs, and then she does additional hits per buff consumed this way. Now, some keys about this particular attack, Whirlwind, is the target cannot evade. That's critical. They cannot evade. And the target has negative 50% armor. Negative 50% armor. So it drops the armor down. So the target can't evade this attack once it's maxed out. And it drops the armor by 50%. Even high armor characters are going to lose a significant amount of armor because of this. So if she's got 5 buffs, she hits them, she does damage 5 times, and they have 50% less armor, and they cannot evade this attack. Now let's go back into Perseverance, her unique. The one thing I wanted to talk about Perseverance, because we know she's now not going to get the damage over times, and she's going to self-cleanse at the end of her turn each and every time at the slight bit of a hit of health loss. A couple of things on this. One, you're going to want to pair her with a healer of some sort, whether that be Trit and Baze combo, because you know they buff and they heal, so that way you can kind of keep her in the positive with health. The second thing you're going to want to note is that she also gets, with her Perseverance, plus 30% critical avoidance, which makes her much harder to kill because she's going to be avoiding that critical damage that's coming her way much more significantly. To put that into perspective, that's like having a couple of critical avoidance mods that you can't even do 2 critical avoidance mods, but it would be like having 2 critical avoidance mods on your character as an arrow, and that's crazy. That's just a lot of critical avoidance percentage, so that is excellent. Now, her total health and protection without any mods is about 38,000. For an attacker, that's actually kind of a little high. Most attackers are between 30 and 35,000. She's almost 40,000, and that's before you apply your own health and protection, which could very easily be another 10,000, putting her around 50,000 health and protection if modded correctly. Her base speed is 148. Now, something to keep in mind about her base speed, this is kind of important. She may only have 148 base speed. However, she's going to get additional turn meter when she does her whirlwind by 15% additional turn meter for every buff she consumes, which is significant. She's going to speed herself up. And 148 is almost 20 speed higher than the average character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. This is a good starting point for speed. Her potency and her tenacity are about average at about a third, 28%, 30%. This is about average. You can increase her potency and her tenacity. However, I do not see yet a need for potency or tenacity. I see her as a damage dealer. You're going to want as much critical chance and critical damage with offense secondaries and speed secondaries as possible, because you want her whirlwind to do a insane amount of damage. Her physical damage is almost 2,600 unmodded. With good offense secondaries, you can get that closer to 3,000. That's a really, really good base stat damage. And without mods, her critical chance is already at almost 40%, which is crazy good. You really want your stat at about 40%, which means the one critical damage and critical chance set, the critical chance will be the set, mod set will be way more than enough, and you can focus your triangle as critical damage with a speed arrow. I would do on her circle protection, and on her plus I would do offense 5.88%. So you've got to see some crazy footage. She's absolutely amazing. What do you think of AHSOKA? Now remember, the marquee event coming out June 2nd, everybody gets her, everybody gets to unlock her. I'm super excited. Make sure to leave your comments down below, like that button, make sure you watch my channel for future updates coming, and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.